Hey everyone, Nikki here. Welcome back to the channel, and thank you to all the new subscribers who came from my last video. Definitely look out for the announcement on the winner for the giveaway. It is happening, I believe, this Saturday, and I will ship out the Nolty and the TN Kyoto insert plus a few fun other items by next week. That being said, I said I would dive into one of these systems or some of the systems that I'm using, and I think the one that was most requested, especially when I did an Instagram poll, was the TN setup. And I have to be honest with everyone here that my TN setup is very, very much still in progress. But I do think there is a ton of potential with this system. I moved into this sort of October of last year, and last year, 2024. October of last year, I started journaling in this a lot, and yeah, just to kind of give you a quick kind of rundown. I'm trying my best to simplify my systems as much as possible, even though if you watched any of my two previous videos, it may not seem that way. Everything is still a work in progress. I wanted to remind everyone, but yeah, I think so I think number one, this video is gonna probably be in two parts. One is how I've been using the system for the TN, and in this video I'll go over, I collected basically all the past inserts I've used or had over the last few years, and they're all sort of in here. I actually should grab some of my travel journals as well. I think that's, you know, kind of a good fun thing to look at. So that's what we'll go over in this video. I'll show you sort of what we're working with here. I'll kind of go through some of my thoughts so far. So I've been mapping out some things that I've been thinking about. So I'll put that to the side here. And then what I won't cover in this video is, I think in my next one, as I set off for the new year, I might, and this is still a might, move into this Ace Hotel one. This Ace Hotel is something I picked up in Tokyo last year. I don't have too many TNs. As you know, this one is one that I've had since 2009, so it's getting a bit scruffy, and I am a little worried that I might be overusing it a little bit. And I do want something like, you know, fresh to start off with. This is one of the only inserts. I don't have another plain regular size insert, but this is the closest I think we'll come to a plain insert, because it's a very neutral camel covered insert, and I think the only thing it has is the embossing of the Ace Hotel logo at the back. In any case, here goes nothing. All right, so let's start off with, I guess, how I've been using my inserts over the years. So I have here, let's put these aside for now. And I haven't taken everything out, but I did want to give a quick look at sort of, and I do have a stack of sort of travel inserts that I don't think, you know, this is the video to go over, but as you can see, a very nice assortment of inserts right here. So there's probably a few I don't have to, you know, kind of go into too much, but I did want to start off by saying that very, very early on, when I took this out of the drawer, I think 2 to 3 years ago, yeah, it was in my drawer for a very long time, I had this insert in there, and date marked probably June 7th, 2009, which is crazy. I remember reading through it and deciding then and there that I had to cut off the journal entries because they were too embarrassing to read through. And I didn't want to waste this, and so I did end up reusing it, and I'm just going to do a quick simple flip through. I actually haven't gone through and read through everything to make sure that, you know, all is good, but I had this insert in here, and what I basically used this for was a very general purpose notebook. I did some journaling in here, did some drawings, or I had other people do drawings, and some ink swatches. So yeah, I think that was, I did some book notes, and this was all back in 2023. So 2023, really the sort of year I picked back up my TN and really use it seriously again. So throughout that process, I think these few inserts are sort of a good look through at how I've been using the inserts in a very sort of commonplacey, everyday use fashion. So this one, I think I did save to use for work, so I'm just going to do a quick flip through here. So used it as, this is the Manual Factory log on special cover, very much a work journal. I then I made my own journal in September 2023 out of different kinds of paper, and I sort of used it as this kind of beautiful way to collage, which felt really nice at the time. This is my order from Pinky Elephant. Did a little haul, and this is, I think, and then we did some poems, Mary Oliver poems, and yeah, just generally it was a very nice and creative way to spread my wings. I might still use this again, but I actually haven't done much with this. So this one I'll set aside for now. And I then last summer or early last year got a couple of these Yoseka inserts. I started it in May, and you know, just sort of wrote in it a lot, or a bit I should say. Stuck a bunch of stuff in there, and then back in, like I mentioned, in October, really picked it up and filled it just like I would a regular journal, and I used it in the stead of a Hobonichi A6. So as you'll see as I transition into this and out of the Hobonichi A6, my Hobonichi A6 has, as a result, starting in October, became pretty empty. But nonetheless, I do love this. I do sort of love this format of journaling, and I'm still doing that today. And so I think I've flipped through this once before in another video that I will link in the description, so I won't belabor this because I have a few other things to get through. And then I guess this is a good example of a, you know, besides the everyday journaling, I have been, since I think 2022, been using the reusing the traveler's notebooks definitely for travel journaling. And so almost every trip that I went on, I had a dedicated travel journal with its own inserts. And right now I think I have maybe 6 or 7 of these filled. Sometimes I use one book for multiple trips just because, you know, they're long and I don't want to waste the paper. Like, for example, this one isn't finished, but it's also not finished because I haven't finished it. So this one is my April trip from last year to Europe. This is when I went to London to to attend one of my best friend's wedding, and that was a joy. And this is me journaling sort of on the go in London. So I do remember actually journaling almost every day there, just to kind of keep up with everything. I brought my printer with me. And yeah, and then we set off to Vienna to visit our other friends, Missy and Lawrence. And then I actually stopped a little. I filled it, I put all the ephemera in, but I hadn't finished writing. And then I actually still have a whole leg of the trip dedicated to Switzerland that I haven't finished. But generally this is what my travel journals look like. This is the Journey as a Destination refill from Baumkuchen. And the one thing about this insert I will say is that I didn't love writing in the craft paper, and I generally don't like writing in craft paper, so that's a good reminder to myself, that I just, yeah, I think for future reference, I really love Midori cream paper and Tomoe River paper. I think the short refills are great for trips, especially shorter sort of 5-6 day trips. So that's, I have a few of those that I just have in stock that I will definitely bring with me for future trips. So that's sort of my life with these different inserts, is traveling every day, some form of kind of ephemera collecting / collaging, which you will also see as I move into some of these books. So these are the weekly inserts that I have used over the year. So let's start with the one from 2023. So this one is from the summer of 2023, and this one was actually a pretty cool one because what happened was I didn't bring my A6 Hobonichi with me to Florida for the summer, which is where we usually spend all our summers, and so I really have to think about what I bring. And so I decided that year that I wouldn't bring that I would only journal from this. And what happened as a result is and it was perfect because the summer started in July, and so does this book, because they come in half year halves. And so this one I basically journaled every day in a vertical format and inserted some small photos and ephemera throughout. And yeah, this was actually a really nice way to remember one summer as a whole. And even though I think this only goes up to October, I want to say. Oh wow, yeah. So generally I just stopped in October. That's when we came back to Hong Kong. I called this my Summer of Butter insert, and this is just another half travel because I guess I was away, but a very sort of dedicated journal to remembering the summer. I feel like this was actually not a terrible way to journal about the day, but I think there were days where I felt like there was more that I wanted to say or more photos that I wanted to stick, and I didn't get the opportunity because the space was quite limited on a weekly format in the format that it is. So I think it was good for that summer. I don't know if I'd do it again. So there's that. And then last year, I started the year off pretty ambitiously, and I did want to preface this by saying that's sort of why I'm in this conundrum limbo right now, where I feel like I need a second video because I do need a little bit more time to think about how I'm using these traveler inserts. Today's the 15th, and I do want to have something really solid by the end of January. And yeah, let me walk through sort of what happened early this year. So I started off this year, I guess, let's see. So this is the vertical for January, June. And so what I started off this year with was kind of nuts. I sort of did this very daily logging spread with stickers, and pretty soon after realized that it was quite unsustainable because my days were just not that interesting. I had chunks of time where I was at work, and I guess for me, I'm like, what do I put for these middle of the day periods where I'm at work. So very quickly sort of fell off that, and then, you know, sort of put this journal aside until about, I would say, April. I picked it up again and sort of did some, you know, really cute collaging, which I honestly really liked. I think this put parts, I don't know, like part of my brain, it activated a part of my brain that was quite different from how I usually journal. And so, yeah, considering doing something like this again, but I haven't really quite decided whether or not that's something I want to do. I do like the fact that there are sort of in this weekly format, just a way to look at the week from a very like bird's eye perspective. I'll see stuff like Sang Roastery or Sean Returns, or, you know, I'll see let's see, you know, this is the week I posted a video, and this is the day or week I saw Jane perform. And so I don't know, it's just nice that I can flip through weeks like this and go through it. But yeah, I did this, and then what happened? And then I guess I continued. I think this is July. Oh yes, I guess I did bring this to Florida, and I tried to continue with this throughout the summer. Girls Rock. I do think I have a video of myself doing this. This is Stationery Fest. But again, I think life got in the way and I stopped. And so the vertical format, I guess, has been a source of creative expression for me. I don't know whether or not, you know, but I have been inspired by some of the things that I've been seeing online where people do use it as a very functional logging space. But I don't know, I feel like I have to learn my lesson and, you know, realize that I tried to do this once upon a time maybe, and, you know, acknowledge that this type of logging may not be for me. But I don't know, I feel like I want to log in a way that's not as creative or stickerful as this, but I should also remind myself that I have other logs, like my health log, that I have to pay attention to. So one thing that I do want to kind of point out why I'm saying all this is because I do have the 2025 vertical diary here that I haven't opened yet, so I just need to figure out what I'm gonna do here. So there's that. And then moving on to the horizontal, again, I think this started off in a super interesting way last year, where I was, you know, reading a lot, and I started off the year with this as a reading journal. And yeah, if you kind of look through this, there is a very nice 2-week trajectory, or not even, just maybe like a week trajectory of me doing 2 weeks where I did this. But I fell off pretty soon because, you know, there were weeks where I read more books than I could fill. You know, I needed more space here. I also got pretty lazy about printing book covers, and so fell off this and then kind of wasted the rest of this insert. And then late last year I did then experiment with using this as my agenda. And so this is sort of what I am most interested about returning back to, only because I thought this was actually not a bad format. And let me just keep this open for a little bit. So not a bad format, and in sort of saying that, I think, let me see if I can pull this up quickly from the rubble that I have here. All right, so I think one of the things to mention is basically this this is basically this. And oops, 1 second, I have a call coming in. All right, let's start that again. Sorry about the interruption there. I just got a quick call. What I meant to say was, you know, I think in my last video I mentioned I wasn't quite sure whether or not this Nulty was working out for me, and what I have been quite honestly rethinking is the two separate sort of agendas. And if I'm being honest, the three separate agendas that I have in my rotation right now, this is work, content, and personal. It feels like a lot to be keeping up with these three, and I think part of the reason why personally that I'm struggling to kind of get over is the fact that I have these notebooks and I feel like I should use them, and I'm trying to kind of get over this hurdle. So I think how I was using this at the end of last year was how I'm using these two notebooks right now. So this, as you know, I've been using as a personal agenda, which honestly, super kind of working out. I think one of the main sort of points of friction here is the fact that sometimes it's just at home, I don't carry this around with me everywhere, and if I'm at work, I carry this around, and then all of a sudden, if I have, you know, some personal agenda items to attend to, I can't check this one. And at the same time, I have this content one probably sitting at home as well. I don't carry this around with me, and I don't know, I think just the fact that if I want to function really properly between these three notebooks, I have to always be carrying these around. And so my personal bias then goes back to, what if I just had one thing that I could figure out a way to compartmentalize all three of these things to work in one notebook, and then just slip it into here to carry around. So that's sort of what I'm thinking. I will need 1 to 2 weeks to really assess this, and so this is why I am not addressing this big elephant in the room right now. And yeah, wait for part 2. I think one of the things that I was contemplating was, there's a way that I can, I think in my last video, have this slipped in and carry this around. Or I know a lot of people also carry the weeks around in their notebook. And so, yes, these are potential solutions, but it doesn't solve the fact that I do have 3 parts of my lives in 3 different agendas. And so, yeah, that's sort of, that felt nice to get off my back and chest, actually. So, cool, there's that. All right, and so I think we've covered, I guess, how I've used these in the past, and I did want to mention that I guess I have all of these items here that I could explain in another video when I set up the camel TN for the part 2 of this video, so I'm not gonna belabor this right now. And obviously, the sticker insert is something I quite love, and I just have had this for a really long time. And yeah, there's a bunch of new stickers that I added here that I got from a friend. So cute. Look at that. In any case, I will now dive into how I've been using this TN so far. And I do have, like I mentioned, a lot of these thoughts just logged here. This is a roll-on. I love the roll-on, and I'm kind of treating this as sort of a very draft, place where I can write memos and all that jazz. So I have this brown TN that I have feels like I've used for all my life. And there are a few things that I wanted to just show you how I've been using this. I, first of all, have 2 of these pocket sticker, and yeah, the pocket sticker large and a small pocket sticker here on the side. And I love these things. Even when I set up whenever I set up a new TN, I generally have to have these because I think without them, I don't know, the TN becomes not very functional for me. So I love having these. And let me go through sort of bit by bit what I have in here now and sort of what my plans are, you know, going forward to change up some of this. But so far it's been working, and yeah, I just really like how chunky it is. I know in a previous video I mentioned that I do love the slimmer form factor. That's what I'm trying to say, but I don't know. There's something nice about this. Anyways, how I have this set up is I have one of the clear plastic covers, so there's only one elastic going through right now. I think in my camel, I'm gonna try to set up a few more elastic bands to go through the back here so that I could slip in more notebooks. But currently there are only 2 notebooks in here, and let me sort of explain why this works for me right now. I haven't decided on the agenda issue, and so I am separately still carrying, you know, these around. So, you know, that's just the reality of the situation at hand. But second of all, you know, the main sort of reason I use my TN is for this everyday journaling notebook, and just to kind of go through. So these are the 2 inserts that I've used in the past, I guess, 3 or 4 months that, yeah, kind of form the basis of how I've been journaling. And I don't know, I don't even know how to explain this to someone, but it has become sort of the security blanket that I just carry a notebook like this around, and I can just put anything that I want inside of here. So sometimes this is, you know, for example, this, I had an ink log. I do remember that previously I drew in here a lot more than I do now, which I do want to return to. I do a lot of long form writing, do a lot of memory keeping, do planning, just sort of word and brain vomiting. And then this year, sort of pretty much the same thing, but as a result of sort of the Christmas season being quite relaxing, I think I did a lot more memory keeping in a way I usually do with travel journals, which is interesting, but I kind of, in this new sort of next step system, do want to figure out a way to separate them. So I have in the past few days been experimenting with some form of just logging the day and being quite sort of writing heavy, less decorating heavy, and kind of trying to figure out whether or not I will introduce actually 2 different books here. So one for just like logging things and yeah, just general word heavy reflection, and I don't even know what to call it, but sometimes I just need a space to write things, and I don't know if that's commonplacing because sometimes it's not just knowledge dumping. It's really just I just need a space to write things out and process information. So that's what this is. I have been really enjoying the fact, and this is so weird, but to have just loose sheets of plotter paper, which I know is like, yeah, just like it doesn't have to be plotter paper, it can be loose sheets of anything, but the plotter paper is very nice. I have a lot of them, especially the Bible size, and you know, they generally, I like having sheets of paper that I think doesn't belong anywhere quite yet, that I can rely on to just have and pull out and write something on it and then decide where to put it. So that's sort of, you know, you'll see very funky loose sheets of paper across my spreads all the time, and there's that. I have also, I use this craft folder to just hold a lot of these I guess, functional stickers, but I don't know. I don't have a real system for stickers like this. I guess I should, but I just like sometimes, you know, putting one here or there. And yeah, it isn't really a very systematic way for me to deal with things, but it works. One thing that I'd like to share is this innovative pen loop that I made from a clip that actually works really well, and I highly recommend it. It's just a binder clip, and you know, this just stays on, and yeah, I love it. In here is what I think I will start doing. So this is a Baumkuchen like agenda sheet, and what's fun about this is, you know, I used to have this in my work plotter, but I was like, why is this in my work plotter when these are things that I like to refer to quite often? So I'm gonna have a few more collections that I have to sort of store. So there's books, movies, media, ideas, quotes, things that I want to buy, gift ideas, wish list, that I want to store in more like a loose sheet format, because, you know, the reason why loose leaf works for this is because I think lists grow, they shrink, and you just have to, you know, you have to adjust to all of that. So I like having that just here, but it's here. And so it, again, these are, I just feel like this has become such like a safety net for me. And so just, yeah, having this one insert, and I think 2 inserts soon, maybe one for more memory keeping stuff and one for more logging purposes, less ephemera, less photos. I think that's gonna sort of sit in the middle of my book here. And then comes the gratitude journal and the monthly, which I think I showed you all before. This is also something that, again, I love doing this. The question that I have is whether or not I need to carry this around with me, because I only need to update it once a day, usually in the evenings, and I'm considering just putting this on my bedside. And when I think about that, I'm like, okay, like, is this the book that I should be using to write gratitude stuff? If it's gonna just go by my bedside, like, should I kind of swap out the functionality of these 2 things? And so, yeah, or should I like repurpose my weeks to do that instead, because, you know, it's beautiful. But yeah, one of the issues that not issues, but with the weeks is, you know, will it come up where I can't really use my fountain pens with this because of the paper? I don't know. So yes, lots of things to consider. And so this space is where I would probably put either one of the vertical or horizontal weeklies to replace this monthly. And so I think where I'm going to end up in about 2 weeks time is sort of this type of journal. I'm probably going to use just Midori cream paper for the memory keeping side of things, and then lightweight TRP. So probably one of these, let's see, this lightweight paper refill for the just the writing segment of things. And then, yeah, I think what will result is probably like a thinner format for both of these, and it might just end up being just as chunky, but yeah, this will be basically refilled after every 64 pages instead of 128. So anyways, I hope that makes sense. And then at the back of here, I just have some additional stickers that yeah, I just swap out from time to time, but generally a lot of them that I like to use in this agenda format, and just little face stickers, small little agenda ones. And then, yeah, this is sort of what I carry around. And then I guess additionally, just so you know, is if I need an extra kind of like, if I know I need to use stickers, I'll do this. If I am going somewhere where I know I'm going to probably do a little bit more journaling, I will bring this Naha case with me, and then all of a sudden I kind of have this very cohesive setup in which, you know, I go into here, and then I have some of my more used, my other pens, more juice ups, my Sailor Custom fountain pen, this multi 8 pen, and this then makes me feel way more secure as I move around the world. And again, this is pretty chunky, but I think if I had to kind of figure things out, you know, just with this system alone, and I didn't have to then think about these 3 things, then I think this is totally okay. And so thank you. I think this is the end of it. I think I've been blabbering on too much. I am curious if you are just as confused as me, or just as sort of, I don't know if confused is the right word, but as I don't know, I'll think of the right word. But I hope you will join me for the next one, where hopefully I'll have a little bit more consensus, a little bit more certainty to the system. That being said, I love the Traveler's Notebook system and I highly recommend it. And I think if you look at how I've used it in the past and how I'm using it now, I generally think that it is a dependable system, just a very functional system, as functional as you want to make it. And I can't wait to figure out how I can properly use, I think just, or properly sort of figure out some loose ends of my system that, yeah, I think will be resolved soon. I have confidence because that's just that. So thank you so much for being here, and I'd love to know if you are also using a Traveler's Notebook, either regular or Passport in your system. Is there anything here that you found helpful or interesting or useful? And I'm curious if there's anything else you might want us to cover. Us, who's us? Me, myself, and I, or want me to cover in the next video, as I go into sort of part 2 of the TN setup, which hopefully will be a little bit more sure. All right, thank you so much. Bye guys.